Well, good morning, church family. It's that time of the week again where I share with you this sermon recap. I hope that you use this for your personal devotion time to just think and pray a little bit more about the message that our pastor preached Sunday morning. But I especially hope that you will use this sermon recap to help you and your family worship together this week. Gather your family together sometime this week and just talk about the message that our pastor preached this previous Sunday on Father's Day. So here was the big idea that our pastor shared with us this Father's Day. Our families need godly fathers that will lead us to be holy, godly, and focused on the kingdom. That was the big idea, that we know that Jesus is the ultimate answer for all the troubles of our world and our nation. But God has called fathers to share Jesus with their families. God has called fathers to lead their families to know the truths of God's Word and to have a personal relationship with Jesus and live a life that honors Him both as individuals and as a family. Our pastor shared with us two things Sunday morning in terms of statistics and research that really just amazed me. Here was the first thing that our pastor shared. Of all the inmates that are incarcerated, 85% of all inmates come from fatherless homes. Think about that for just a minute. 85% of all people that are incarcerated, all prisoners, all people that are in jail, 85% of them come from fatherless homes. And then the other research data that our pastor shared with us was this, that states and governments determine how many prisons are needed to be built based upon the delinquency rate of 8th graders. So think about that for just a minute, that our government, our states look at the delinquency rate among 8th graders and can already project and decide statistically, theoretically, how many prisons are going to be needed based on the actions and the lifestyle of an 8th grader. Guys, I know that speaks for itself. Our nation desperately needs fathers. Our nation, our world desperately needs godly fathers to lead their families. So you can tell that I'm not standing in my office this morning doing this sermon recap. I'm standing right outside our Family Life Center, and I intentionally stand here with the playground in the background because I want you to just think with me for just a moment. As you're looking at this playground behind me, I want you to just think with me. What happens between the time that a child is 3, 4, 5, 6 years of age and the time that they become a young teenager or a young adult? What happens? What is going wrong? You have an innocent child that's playing on the playground one day, and then all of a sudden you have that same child that's an adult and they're living a life of wickedness and evil, rebellion, defiance, and just causing all kinds of problems in our culture and our society. Well, the answer to that is Jesus, but the primary purpose, the primary person that is supposed to share Jesus and lead their family to honor Him is the Father. Our pastor shared with us out of Deuteronomy chapter 6, and I want to read this. I brought my Bible outside with me. Listen to this. You've heard it before. He's speaking to fathers, and he says, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all of your might." And again, he's speaking to fathers. He says, "These words which I am commanding you today shall be on your heart." And listen to what a father is supposed to do. He says to the fathers, "You shall teach them diligently to your sons, and you shall talk of them when you sit in your house and when you walk by the way and when you lie down and when you rise up." He is saying here that you fathers have to lead your families. You have to be intentional about this. It is our responsibility. But here's the deal. It's not easy. It's hard. It doesn't even come natural. So I want you to gather your family around sometime this week, and I want you to just ask a couple of questions. One, ask this question: Why is it important for fathers to lead their families? Ask that question. And then ask this question. What does a family look like when it doesn't have a leader? And then the third question I want you to ask is this. What can we do as families? What can we do as a church? What can we do as individuals to help encourage fathers to lead their families? So gather your family around. Think about this need for fathers to lead their family.